Destiny and Choice. Part 1. Destiny. What has been pre-programmed? None of us choose where we are born. We don't choose our parents, our skin color, or our nation. Some people grow up amidst comfort and expectation. Others begin life in a dim attic, burdened with debt and deprivation. At some point, each of us may have asked, are these things happening because of choices I made, or am I simply living out a script that was written for me? If destiny exists, it rarely announces itself like some mystical prophecy. Instead, it hides in systems, biological frameworks, social loops, and even the subconscious programming of the human brain. There are things we never chose, but they shape us deeply. The first is genes. You might carry a genetic code that makes you more susceptible to depression than others. Or perhaps you have a unique genetic makeup that helps you adapt quickly to stress. Genes are invisible, but they leave imprints on how you react, how you love, and how you recover from pain. The second is circumstance. A child born into a violent household will learn to be wary of the world. They may not know who to trust and often respond to love with suspicion. In contrast, a child raised in a secure and loving environment will tend to trust others and trust themselves. Destiny, in this sense, isn't some supernatural force. It's the sum of all the settings that came pre-installed: your body, your environment, and the belief systems you absorb without even realizing it. It's like an operating system, and you begin this life without getting to choose which one you'd run on. In psychology, there's a concept called the life script. These are patterns of behavior we develop early in life and often repeat unconsciously as adults. For example, someone abandoned in childhood might grow up constantly seeking love while fearing it will disappear. They might repeatedly choose the wrong people, the wrong timing, and recreate the same old wounds. Some people keep failing in their careers not because they lack talent, but because they carry a core belief that they're not good enough, that success isn't meant for them. In that case, destiny is not some external blow of fate, but an internal habit repeated so often that it becomes a default trajectory. These scripts are reinforced over time by experience, by social feedback, and by the small choices we make, thinking they're random. Beyond the personal level, there's also a societal layer to destiny. Where you're born can determine up to 80% of whether you'll attend university or have a stable income. Research in social geography shows that simply moving from a poor neighborhood to a better one can drastically alter a child's life path. Educational systems, discrimination, access to technology, the presence of successful role models, these are all invisible structures shaping who you become even before you're aware of it. Imagine life as a train journey. You're born at a certain station and placed on a specific track. That's destiny. Each track has a direction, a slope, and its own obstacles. You didn't choose that first rail, but after each stop, you are given a chance to switch tracks if you have enough awareness and courage. Those who never question the track they're on will end up where the system predetermined. But those who dare to question, who learn to observe, and are willing to step off the train, those are the ones who might find a different path altogether. Part 2. Choice, free will, and the power of consciousness. If the first part revealed that life often begins as an unfair hand of cards, this part asks a deeper question. Can we reshuffle the deck? Is there a way for someone, despite biological, psychological, or social disadvantages, to redirect their life's course? Science and history both suggest yes, but the price of that freedom is awareness. Free will, the tiny space between reaction and choice. Viktor Frankl, the psychiatrist who survived the Nazi concentration camps, once said, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space lies our power to choose, and in our choice lies our growth and our freedom." Most of the time, we live like reactive machines. Insulted, we get angry. Hurt, we withdraw. Face failure, we give up. But unlike animals, humans have the remarkable ability to pause, look inward, and choose a new response. The human brain is designed to build neural pathways. Familiar reactions get reinforced and become automatic over time. If we often react negatively, the brain encodes that as a natural reflex. But the opposite is also true. If we intentionally choose positive responses, even if it's hard at first, new neural paths begin to form. This is what science calls neuroplasticity, the ability to rewire ourselves. So, choice isn't just a philosophical idea. It's a biological power, one that requires practice and patience. Consciousness and the deeper layer of choice. We often think of choices as actions, choosing a job, a relationship, or words to speak. But the root of all choices lies at the level of consciousness in how you perceive the world and how you perceive yourself. Someone abandoned in the past might choose to believe, I am not worthy of love. If they hold onto that belief as truth, every following behavior, avoidance, self-sabotage, endurance of unhealthy patterns is shaped by that first belief choice. In contrast, someone else in the same situation might tell themselves, their leaving does not define my value, and so they choose to heal, choose to move forward, choose not to repeat the old story. We can't change the past, but we can choose the story we tell about it, and that story shapes our future. Choice is not a privilege, it is a power. Many believe that choice is a luxury, something only available to the privileged, but in truth, it is often those who have been pushed to the edge of suffering who, when they refuse to give up, rewrite their destiny. They don't escape their circumstances overnight, but they change the way they live within those circumstances. A woman who suffered abuse chose to break the cycle, started over from zero, and later became a counselor for others who had been wounded like her. A child who was denied education chose to teach himself from tattered books and eventually founded the first community library in his village. A young man born in poverty chose not to surrender to it, trained himself relentlessly, and went on to create jobs for his entire neighborhood. Their common thread? None of them chose where they started, but all of them chose not to let that starting point define their ending. Life is like a vast river. Some are born in calm waters, others in stormy rapids. We can't choose the water, but we can choose how to steer our boat. That is choice. And choice, when practiced regularly, becomes habit. Habit, when sustained long enough, becomes a new destiny. Every time you act with awareness, you realign your life's track. We may not control everything, but we hold the greatest power of all, to choose how we live, no matter the conditions. Part 3. Destiny, choice, and the paradox of freedom. Destiny and choice are not opposing forces pulling in opposite directions. They are simply different layers of the same unfolding process of life. It's like a chess game. You don't get to choose your initial pieces, that's destiny. But how you play, how you shift your strategy, how you're willing to sacrifice one piece to gain a better position, that's choice. We cannot choose the circumstances of our birth, but we can choose how we respond to them. We can't rewrite the past, but we can choose how we understand it. And sometimes, the way we live in the present is the most powerful way to transform what we once called fate. True freedom begins when we recognize our limits. There is a profound paradox. The more we believe we can control everything, the more disappointment we invite. But the more we accept that we have limitations, the more power we gain over what we can change. Freedom is not the ability to do everything we want. Freedom is the clarity to recognize what truly belongs to us and to act fully within that space. Those who understand they cannot change their parents, their social background, or their childhood memories no longer waste energy fighting what cannot be changed. Instead, they pour all their life force into what can be transformed. Their thoughts, their habits, their reactions, their choices. They don't need a new destiny. They redefine what destiny means. Every day is a chance to choose again. The most beautiful thing in life is not found in destiny or success. It's in the simple truth that each morning, we get to choose how we want to live, to choose to face instead of flee, to choose to learn instead of blame, to choose to love even after being hurt, to choose to keep walking even when the destination is unknown. And in that very moment, we are no longer victims of any so-called fate. We become creators, not yet master architects, perhaps, but at the very least, builders laying down, one brick at a time, the path that is truly our own. Imagine this. Destiny is the sky vast. with winds, with storms, with physical limits. Choice is the kite. If you know how to hold the string, when to release it, how to catch the wind, the kite can soar high in that very sky. You don't need a different sky. You just need a different way of flying. So if you were given the chance not to restart your entire life, but simply to choose from this moment forward, what would you choose? A new action? A new perspective? Or perhaps just this, to believe that destiny is not your prison. It is the very place where you begin to learn how to be free.